Hello, speedrun and Abiotic Factor enjoyers. This is a revisit of the Reactor Entrance run, previously called Glitched. The categories were redone, so this is now any percent with the exception of the fly glitch. So all the glitches are on the table except being able to fly. The reason I'm revisiting this run is a couple small optimizations have started to pile up on how I went through it.
I don't think
The
we've
big one
met.
is I discovered there was a power cell in the hydro plant, which that in combination with the antiverse gem that is also in hydro plant, it means the dip into labs is no longer needed. So that skips a big run up and around the tower for actually getting out of security sector, and then 2 extra bridges to make it over to the labs, and then grabbing the antiverse gem and running all the way down and grabbing the power cell from the cold storage area, and then death warping back. That all gets replaced by just some small deviations in hydro plant to grab those 2 items instead. And in combination with the slightly better routing and a few improved executions, like keeping better track of my metal pipes compared to last time, it amounted to about a 4-minute time save.
Hello. Over
I'm
here.
talking over the intro here because the cafeteria tends to go the same for glitched categories. You're just collecting the stuff you need to make your tables, make your vacuum, or set up your inventory to have things where you need them for the rest of the run. A big thing I also learned from the previous attempt was making sure my metal pipes are front and center in that first slot. Uh, so that way the hydro pipes are not accidentally used up first, because for recipes like crafting benches that use pipes, it will grab whatever comes first in your inventory as the material component. It doesn't prioritize any kind of smartness there. Another new glitch, Heroism demonstrated it on his tutorial percent, and a new member of the community analyzed it and figured out how it was done without using macros. Though I don't think macros are actually against the rules. I'll have to double check them. Not that macros really do much for this run, uh, compared to some Half-Life 2 runs where the macro is the central part to item fly. If you've ever watched one of those, that's an interesting thing. Let's see, who was it? Mosum was the one who figured out if you bind your primary fire and then your next and previous hotbar buttons all to the same button, you can use it as an automatic cancel, so just pressing the button with a certain rhythm, and you can attack very quickly, you can build very quickly, and even heavy weapons can be swung at a ridiculously fast speed doing this, which still drains your stamina. And you'll see, I believe after I come back up, I still have to deal with that peccary. And you'll get to see that fast attack in action again after I've done it on the CPUs. Now, something that might be able to save time in this run, I'm not sure coming down here is necessarily worth the 20 seconds anymore, because a basic backpack is absolutely functional to make this run work. Now, here's the peccary, see, watch. Bam, 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 bam. And you can get a pest in there, too. Just absolutely destroy them with a table leg. Nice thing about this category, because currently you don't need the hacker for anything. Since the one place that you would need a level 5 hacker, you can just water cooler clip through the door. You can skip gobbling up a bunch of PCs. You don't need like 13 to 18 circuit boards like you normally would. A little bit of extra futzing here. Spend an extra second to shuffle inventory, and that sometimes helps force the game to remember your position, which is critical for this out-of-bounds clip to work. And I'll do it again in Hydro Plant. This was a slight change to the route. It occurred to me, why don't I just go in the back door? Usually I went in the front door where the keypad is. And I think this saves an extra, like, 20 seconds of running, maybe a little bit less. The security pack still makes a nice difference here just for having the extra slots. I could probably skip doing this pills too, but carrying 2 power cells does tend to build up the radiation very quickly. And I'd rather not have my guy puking and going into slow run mode because he's hungry and thirsty at the same time. It really does mess up your mobility when you are low on food and water. You see, the other nice thing about the pack here is there was only 2 slots left open coming into this build, so something would have had to have been left in the box or on the ground. So it's kind of a toss-up. I think it could be one of those personal preference things, whether to grab it or not. At very least, you have to wait for the vacuum to charge anyway, so, like, why not? Big difference for this upcoming section to get into security early. I used to do a wacky thing going into the server room where I needed to get up on top of the servers and build a shelf and put a chair on it, and spacing that was all uncomfortable. This little hiccup here is like, why am I overweight? And then I remember I need to drop. I lost a little bit more time here than I would have liked, but then it's like, oh yeah, I need to get all of this stuff I'm never going to use again out of my bag. Now that I'm looking at it, going down there for the 3 extra screws was also worth it, because I would have been short 2 screws for the run if I hadn't done that. So I guess the under area is worth it. So here's the big change. Instead of the server room, we're going to use the platform cart to get in here. And then it's just a nice simple chair. And whoop, now we're right where we need to put the next set to get into security. So that whole process goes much faster. And the previous route, because of the weight, ended up wanting the platform cart. So the platform cart's not really important for the weight management anymore. More so that it's the easiest way to get in there. Like, I could also build the bed, now that I think about it. That might be worth considering, skipping the platform cart entirely. Because a bed can absolutely get you through those wooden planks. So we go from one out of bounds straight into another. Usually what would happen here would have been a bed, followed by going into labs, which would have been 2 more bridges built as well. But now we can just truck on through security. We need the 2 chairs to get out, the 2 staplers for build later, and an anvil to make the repair and salvage bench. Because there's a couple things that have to be broken down. Pretty standard run through security. This isn't anything new if you watch the previous run of this particular thing. A little cautious here because on a couple attempts prior to this one, I kept falling down and getting stuck in the cracks. Now, then I'd have to get my bag out of it, and it was a whole big mess. Try to line that up to make sure I land on the edge there, because I think you'll get both legs broken instead of just one if you miss it, which is a bit slower. Oh, another difference here, because the enemies in Voisier are now immune to freezing, there's no reason to bother with slushy bombs, because the one other thing you'd use them on in this run is this Peccary Sow coming up, and nets work just fine on those for the same effect, because you have the thermal mallet by then, even with the firepower, and this is a pretty quick kill with the quick canceling on it. Now, the worst RNG of this run is getting the sniper rifle. You need it for the 2 optic lens, which are required to finish the run. What I should have done here was grab one of those flat boxes, like to the left there, with the chain, a hose, and a steel cable in it, but it slipped my mind. Thankfully, there's a backup once you get to the Waterfall Apartments. That's where I'll grab it. And this was phenomenal luck, getting the sniper rifle on the first try. I was actually nervous at this point. Like, I did not want to blow this run getting a first-time sniper rifle, because that is the first time that's happened to me. It's always taken at least 3 save and exits to get it. One attempt that I abandoned got up to 18 before I got it, which is actually awful luck even for the sniper rifle. Being a little careful here, it's quite easy to just fling yourself off. Didn't need to unlock that door, but I did it just to be safe. The reason you can get away with dropping a power supply in Data Farm is because there's one right there you can grab, so why have it clog the inventory if you don't need to? Although this run travels so light, I probably could have kept one and not had it been an issue.
Glad you're still alive. And look,
Can't advance the story until these two are done talking, so as before, this is a good build section.
With the dark
Previously went around to the balcony where the other sniper is and made a rope to get down. This skips needing to build the rope, which is getting extra materials to make sure that happens. You have to make sure you grab a phone and an extra metal scrap on the way.
Exactly why we should do it. It could be our only chance.
If you're serious,
So I'm pretty sure this route overall is just faster,
I can tell you 2 things.
because it's not that bad to get back out into the water after the fact either. But the original route was planned around the idea that the snipers were going to be much more of a problem, and it turned out they weren't.
The next part's not gonna be so easy. You need to reboot the Spillway computer.
I don't know why fire hydrants are flagged as an important item for the salvage check right now.
Transmitter back online somehow. It could be done, but how desperate are you?
I goofed on this section a little bit, forgot my build order. Especially because I forgot to grab the materials I needed. Didn't cost too much time, thankfully. Made the charge station, just got the heck out of there after the fact. It can all be built later at apartments. And then there's one more build up at the transmission tower. And isn't that amazing how quickly the sniper knows you're there? Like, that is just frustratingly uncanny, and that's why I spend as much time ducked under the water as possible, because once he knows I'm there, he's ready to shoot me no matter where I come up. It's actual aim botting, it's frustrating. But once you know how to move around this area, it's not too bad to avoid the snipers if you're just aware of where they've spawned. Mostly the one on the balcony. He has 4 different spawn points. I'm gonna set up a quick little encampment here. Look at that fast build, isn't that glorious? And this is where having the cart is also nice. There's other ways, of course, to do that. Like, you could put stuff on your lower part of your backpack and take your backpack off and just make a loot spill bag. Almost forgot to take a nap, which would have been awkward on the death warp. Yeah, see, in there I remembered I needed the chain. And the steel cable, that's right, I had a hose from breaking down the fire extinguisher previously. But you could see the gears grinding as I moused over the hose, like, do I need this? Wait, no I don't. Flashlight's done at that point. Not much use for it. Hesitated for just a second to make sure that XOR was not going to join in. I'm way more scared of X-Ors because they can easily three-shot you compared to the peccaries, especially the sows. They just throw their little tail bomb. Not really a big threat. Yeah, so who needs a level 5 hacker when walls are a suggestion? And why run all the way back when you can die and get there? Why isn't Jetpack available to build? Because I haven't made the prerequisite items yet. There we go. Probably lost 30 to maybe 60 seconds on just little build errors. Also forgetting to plug in the charge station. Whoops. So there's definitely room for improvement on this run, but I think the change to the route was really the big time save. And you don't even need to get the jetpack up to full. Somewhere mid-white for the lights is fine, really. See, I take it at 3 through the white, and that ends up... I only end up using, like, maybe half of the charge that I got on it in the first place. So I could have gone a little bit sooner. This part is always a little tricky because the jetpack seems to do this thing where sometimes it fills its red bar longer than you're holding the button for no explainable reason. And then you don't have the charge you need, or it's not ready to do a nice soft landing, and you end up breaking some legs, but doing a save and exit to get out of a broken leg is not ideal, because sometimes you'll get rolled back all the way to the apartments. It's not very good at saving your position when you save and exit. It's kind of annoying. And this is where the weathered trait at the beginning is great, because in combination with the karate helmet and the pushing chest, you don't have to worry about being frozen randomly, which is absolutely devastating if that happens near one of these close-quarter combatants. These guys can just delete you if you are stuck point blank in front of them. Interesting that I got the red karate helmet this time. It seems like usually I end up with the white one for some reason. If I had the gravity cube, I'd probably jetpack up there after a certain point, but it's way too far out of the way. That adds like 3-4 minutes to the run to go pick that up. So unfortunately, it gets skipped. Although if the jetpack couldn't make it places without it, then it would be part of the route, so... Alright, and then here's the final big change. Gotta take the crafting station, take all of that. And we're in the home stretch now of 2 more items, 3 more things to create, finish the objective, and get the heck out of here. Which takes a little over 3 minutes. That was checking where the sniper was.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
Had a moment of remembering where I needed to go. And then this building we're coming up on is where the power cell is. And it might seem like I lost some time because of the brain fart on the roof there, but I think it ended up working out because I would have had to wait for this robot to pass by anyway. If I had gotten there a little sooner, he would have been walking by the stairs, and if I had gone down them, he potentially would have seen me, or I would have just had to stand there and wait for him to leave anyway to get down the stairs to pick up that power cell. But I picked that place pretty thoroughly clean looking for a power cell when I was first routing this, and somehow missed that one. So now that I know it's there, that makes a big difference on getting through this. You don't, like I said, you don't have to go into labs anymore. I like that chrysalid sprinting up ahead of me like that. These guys are actually kind of a menace. Look at that, still harassing me. Running outside there and jetpacking up might actually be faster than taking the stairs, but there's a very good chance the sniper out there will see you when you're doing it, and being at 2/3 health at that point and risking a bleed, it just didn't seem worth it to what would amount to saving like 2 seconds when this route is still untested for the most part at the time of recording it. The fast build does make a really big difference in wanting to route things. I'm a lot more inclined to reposition the crafting bench because it's a very small time loss to rebuild it now, as opposed to, you know, if you just held the screwdriver on it, that's like 8 or 10 seconds waiting for that thing to build. I'm not entirely sure why that broke my legs like that. It didn't seem like it was a very hard landing. But I take the, I think it's a 5-second time loss here to reset this, just because it's really inconvenient to have a broken leg. Probably would have been a wash if I had just run on it through here. But the run speed does go noticeably slower. I was a little concerned I was going to splatter there. The jetpack didn't seem to be slowing me down enough. And we shove the face in the sister.
We converge at
Voila.
the cusp. This
Went from
boundary
25:46,
yourself,
I think was the
has
previous
the moment
record,
arrived?
down to 21:42.
This impasse shields you now for dark energy.
Now, the interesting thing, when Dark Energy comes out, if we don't need to do the objectives in Hydroplant to get into Reactor, there are ways of skipping the Hydroplant objectives entirely. So that means the next run could still be fast. Look at that, only 18 minutes of active world time. It's ridiculous. Well, thanks for watching.